I never imagined that at 58 years old, after 26 years in the Army and another 12 with the U.S. Marshal Service, the most dangerous operation of my career would begin with a $3 piece of white plastic hammered into the ground beside my driveway in a quiet subdivision outside Richmond, Virginia. My name is David Reynolds. Most folks around here just call me Dave, the quiet widower who moved into the little brick ranch on Dogwood Court after Margaret passed. They don't know that the house was purchased through a blind trust, that the deed was deliberately chosen because it sits in one of the few pockets of the county with no HOA, no covenants, no architectural committee. They also don't know that the private property, no trespassing sign I bought at Home Depot last March was never meant to keep solicitors away. It was bait. Tuesday, June 12th started like any other. I was out front in old jeans and a VFW cap, watering the azaleas Margaret always loved, when two dark blue SUVs with magnetic signs reading Community Standards Division pulled up without a sound. 4 men stepped out. Navy polo shirts, khaki tactical pants, duty belts complete with tasers, radios squawking official-sounding traffic. Their badges glinted in the sun like real gold. The leader was tall, square-jawed, maybe 45. The nameplate read SGT. J. Malone. Afternoon, Mr. Reynolds, he said with the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. That sign violates County Code 14C, unauthorized private signage in the public viewscape. We're going to need you to remove it immediately. I asked which county code, which ordinance, which homeowners association. His answer was a patient sigh and a slow rest of his right hand on the taser. The other 3 spread out, one photographing my truck tag, one measuring the distance from the sign to the street with a measuring wheel, the third scribbling on a metal clipboard. Everything looked so official my stomach tightened, even though I knew better. For the next 5 weeks my life became a carefully orchestrated nightmare. Week 1 brought the polite ladies, Karen and Michelle, crisp blazers and iPads, offering to help me clear my growing list of violations for the low price of $997, always just under the magic 1,000 that triggers federal reporting. They showed me a website that looked exactly like the Chesterfield County portal, complete with my address circled in red. Week 2 the certified letters started arriving, official-looking envelopes with the county seal, postmarked from a private mailbox in Delaware. Each contained glossy photos of my yard taken from angles I never noticed, citing everything from grass height to the color of my mailbox flag. Week 3 the neighborhood Facebook group lit up. Anonymous accounts posted about the new guy on Dogwood who thinks rules don't apply to him, complete with drone photos of my supposedly overgrown backyard. Mrs. Henderson across the street stopped waving. Old Mr. Park started getting his mail at odd hours so he wouldn't have to talk to me. Week 4 I spotted the surveillance. Same black Tahoe circling the block, different plates every day. Once, at 2 in the morning, a drone hovered outside my bedroom window long enough for its red lights to paint the ceiling. I lay there in the dark, hand on the Sig Sauer under the pillow, and waited. Then came Gregory Harlan. He arrived on a Thursday evening, driving a silver Mercedes that cost more than my house. Charcoal suit, manicured nails, the calm confidence of a man who has never been told no and lived. He sat at my kitchen table, accepted a glass of sweet tea like we were old friends, and slid a single sheet of heavy cream paper across the formica. David, he said, voice smooth as bourbon. This has gone on long enough. $1,500 today, wired to the account at the bottom, and every violation disappears. No more visits, no more letters, no more complications. My enforcement teams get impatient when files stay open too long. He gave me 24 hours. Friday at 6:05 the street, filled with Navy uniforms. 8 men this time. Malone was back, flanked by 2 new ones built like linebackers who'd gone private contractor after Iraq. Real bolt cutters gleamed in the evening light. They formed a semicircle around my sign and announced, loud enough for the whole cul-de-sac to hear, that immediate compliance action was now in effect. Mrs. Henderson stood on her porch clutching her Yorkie. 2 houses down the Bradleys filmed on their phones, nodding like this was overdue justice. Malone raised the cutters. The biggest contractor stepped between me and my own front door. Last chance, Mr. Reynolds. Step aside, or we'll step you aside. I felt the years slide away, felt the weight of every warrant I'd ever served settle on my shoulders like an old, familiar coat. Lower those cutters, Sergeant. The voice that came out of me wasn't the quiet widower anymore. It was the voice that once made a platoon of Rangers snap to attention in a sandstorm. United States Marshal Service. You just committed felony impersonation of federal officers during the commission of a RICO predicate act. And every second of it is on federal wire. 8 grown men froze solid. The bolt cutters hit the asphalt with a sound like a gunshot. Hands jerked away from weapons. Someone whispered, Jesus Christ. I reached slow into my back pocket and came out with the one thing their costume shop could never duplicate. A gold federal shield catching the last of the sun. Special Deputy Marshal David Reynolds, Eastern District of Virginia. This residence has been a Title III bait house since March 1st. Every threat, every extortion demand, every drone flight, every dollar you took from widows in 4 states is already in evidence lockup. Unmarked Suburbans poured in from both ends of Dogwood Court, doors flying open before they even stopped. Real deputies this time, raid jackets, long guns, the works. Harlan had just pulled up in the Mercedes to watch the finale. 2 marshals had him face down on his own hood before he cleared the curb. We arrested 23 people in the next 72 hours. Malone, real name Jason Malone, 3 warrants out of North Carolina. The polite ladies, Karen and Michelle, were actually sisters with a history of real estate fraud in Florida. Harlan, Gregory Harlan, ESQ, turned out to be the silent partner in 6 different shell companies that laundered the money through boardwalk pizza shops and nail salons from Delaware to Georgia. Total take, $2,341,000, mostly from people over 65 and recent immigrants who spoke little English. Every cent seized, every victim made whole by federal court order. 6 months later, I stood in the federal courthouse in Richmond while the judge read the sentences. Harlan got 15 years. Malone got 10. The sisters drew 7 each. The contractor with the taser and the attitude got 12 after the jury saw a body cam of him threatening a 79-year-old widow in Fairfax. After it was over, I came home to find Mrs. Henderson on my porch holding a pan of brownies and crying because they'd taken $800 from her over her rose bushes. Mr. Park brought a bottle of bourbon and wouldn't let go of my hand. The Bradleys took down every Facebook post and sent a written apology through their attorney. The little white sign is still there, sun-bleached now, leaning just a little from the day the bolt cutters almost got it. I repainted the letters last week. Still $3 worth of plastic, but it did what a whole task force couldn't do in 2 years. It brought the wolves straight to the door. So tell me, friends, where do you draw the line? When men in uniforms show up demanding money and threatening force, when the paperwork looks perfect and the neighbors are watching, how much would you pay to make them go away? Would you have written the check? Called the sheriff? Or would you have hammered a cheap sign into the dirt and waited to see who blinked first? Drop your story in the comments. I read every one, and I promise the good guys do too. Stay safe out there, and keep your powder dry.